I'm Mike Morales. You are watching Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media and tequilaaficionado.com. I'm in San Antonio. You are?
Rick Levy in San Diego.
Rick in San Diego, the heart of Mexican food in Southern California. We were
The home
talking
of
about...
the taco.
Yeah, that's right. We were talking about Tragos Amargos. And if you watched our Blanco review, you know that the oh, that's a good shot. You know that this is all about Ramon Ayala. Tragos Amargos. I'm sorry, I had to go back there.
So I was saying in our last segment, I really like the smart lines of the packaging. You know, I have some experience in design, and from a design perspective, you know, I think it's a very smart kind of classic look.
Should we nominate it for Brand of Promise and Packaging? What do you think?
Sure.
Okay, I'll go there. I will say, as I warned in our last segment, just be careful because you see the beveled edges of the bottle, and some breakage may occur. So when these chip like that, when they clang against either the shelf or other of its brethren, be aware, folks, that when you take these off the shelf, be real careful. You don't slice a thumb or a finger or something like that.
I'm a big fan of the stoppers.
Yeah, you really like those stoppers, those
Beautiful
these are
wood and recessed, sandblasted. Is that sandblasted?
No,
or
that's a recessed like a metal coin. That's like a coin.
You know, there's like a metal coin in there. It's beautifully done.
It's very well done. I think it's very classy. I mean, it's got a I agree with you. It's got an elegant look. It's got good hand feel too. So if you're behind the bar, or whether your own bar or at a restaurant,
it's a little bit larger towards the top, so it's not as likely to slip through the fingers.
Exactly. It's an easy pour, and this is we're going to try the Reposado, which is not an award winner. We said the Blanco won a gold medal at this year's 2016's Spirits of Mexico, or I'm sorry, San Francisco World Spirits Competition, and that happened in March of 2016 of this year. So it's no slouch. It's no slouch. And Rick, I have to say, I love the color. I think the presentation and the color of the Repo and the Blanco. The Blanco was pristine. The Repo, what are they telling us? Do they tell us how long it's being aged?
9 months in American oak.
Okay. Not sure if you can see that. I know my lighting here is not the greatest, but that's.
It has some nice legs to it, some nice coating. It's not too thick, not too thin.
No, the visual presentation is actually very pretty. It's a very pretty looking tequila. And of course, if you're going to be listening to Tragos Amargos and Ramon Ayala, you probably aren't going to drink it out of a Riedel. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's nice. I think you're right. The wood actually did give it an extra layer of gave it some complexity.
Yeah, and as typical with the wood, what you often find with the wood, it will take off some of the harsher edges, and it adds another layer of character.
The Blanco is triple distilled. It doesn't tell us whether the Reposado or the Añejo are also triple distilled. Some of us who've been around for a while remember Don Eduardo tequila that was acquired by Brown-Forman. Don Eduardo's Blanco was triple distilled, but the Repo and the Añejo were not. And that was always a mystery because even people at Brown-Forman weren't aware of that at the beginning when they acquired Herradura. They also acquired Don Eduardo, which was from another distillery, from the Orandines. So we're not sure if this is starts at a triple distilled Blanco. I'm not, anyway.
Yeah, the assumption would be that they're using the same Blanco, but
you can't assume.
You can't assume.
Can't assume that.
And I think there may be conflicting sources on that.
Could be. I think you're probably right. I do like the nose on the Repo. Very nice.
Much better now. On the first pour, I got a lot of the
The fumes.
fumes. Yeah.
Yeah. See, yours probably arrived like mine did. You know, it was in the middle of the day. It was hot. You unwrapped the bottles out of the box. It felt like it was been sitting on my sunny patio for.
They're very warm coming out of the
Yeah.
box.
And when you do that with tequila, in and of itself, tequila is a very temperamental spirit to begin with. I mean, some distillers prefer to have their Blanco resting for I don't know how many days in stainless steel just till it settles down.
Yeah.
And some people say, I have heard it said that even though tequila doesn't really age in bottles, it continues to evolve, even though it may be in the bottle. So it's kind of
also,
a living thing.
Methanol is a key to the character of tequila, and that's the lightest of the alcohols. So when it can be affected by temperature.
Well, the other thing too is the alcohols that you're getting from tequila are not the same types that you would get from corn or from grain or potatoes or wheat or whatever. I mean, this is a plant, ladies and gentlemen.
It's very fibrous.
Yes.
You get
and they take what, 8-year-old agaves before they supposedly 8-year-old Highlands? Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, their materials say 8-year-old Highlands agaves. In some of the photos I've seen, I definitely saw some that looked like Highlands agaves. Oh, and also, it looked like they were keeping a bit of the penca on there as well, the base of the penca, like
okay, well,
a couple centimeters of the sort of waxy, and that can add some bitterness to it as well.
Yes, and that
might be bitter, considering the translation of Tragos Amargos is bitter shots.
Bitter shots, exactly, and that may be the reason why the Blanco is such a.
It has a punch.
It's an aggressive tequila. It really is an aggressive flavor profile, not what you expect from a Highlands tequila.
Yeah.
Right. So, I love this nose, man. This is a nice nose. Woodsy. It's got some caramel a little bit.
It can definitely note the wood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's see what it tastes like.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Still get some of the retro nasal.
Yeah, see, I thought and I've been around a while. I've had you have enough of these and you develop a callus. It's like working out. But some tequilas will, especially at the higher proof, will catch you off guard. And yet this is not a high proof tequila though.
40 proof. Yeah.
It's 80 proof for 40 ABV. So I don't know what they're doing to it. I'm glad they're resting it in wood. Whoa, man. And yes, it will.
Machismo fuerte. Old school.
You see how they're serving it. It's designed to serve on the rocks. I would literally do this the old-fashioned way, like we used to in the old, when we first started drinking tequila, lime and salt, maybe.
Or the way they have it pictured. It's like over the rocks, throw in a wedge of lime, maybe a wedge of orange to go with it.
I think the whole line, at least for the first two, are very cocktail forward. So if I were to do one of my favorite cocktails that I don't drink very often, it's called a Brave Bull, which is tequila, Kahlua, and a lime wedge. And when Mike has had a bad day, when he's drinking Brave Bulls, guys. And I gotta tell you, this tequila I would put in my Brave Bull. It's very cocktail forward. You're not gonna lose it in any of your cocktails. And of course, I would be playing some. Now this is. Me siento como un cobarde.
If you enjoy your tequila with sangrita,
this is the one.
Is turning out to be a great line to go with this particular accompaniment.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think it's so hearty and so well. I don't even call it hearty. It's just aggressive. Okay, this is an aggressive
Yeah.
tequila, and it may not be for you, but it is aggressive in the old style way. If you know anything about Ramon Ayala, or if you've watched, or maybe you didn't catch our first episode of the Blanco tasting, Ramon Ayala is a norteño musician, a legend. The guy's been around 40 plus years. You know, he's got it's the predecessor of banda music, which is what we hear a lot of here in San Antonio. In fact, I was telling Rick off camera, if I want to hear this kind of music, I can step outside of my backyard and listen to the neighbor behind us on Fridays and Saturdays, because that's all he plays. It is, with his speakers, wide open. So, but this is really old style, old school stuff. If you're not familiar, if you forget what it was like when you first started, years ago drinking tequila, then this will bring back memories. It's up to you whether they're good or bad, right?
It's not a mixto.
No, it is not. And let's be clear about that. It's 100% blue agave that's in your face. This is again a hearty tequila. It's not for everybody, but according to their POS, they're going after the Don Julio crowd.
Yeah, they're targeting the Hispanic market in the U.S. People who would otherwise be purchasing Don Julio. They're looking, it seems, to grab a share of that market.
Yeah, I think too that for people who have been on this side of the border for a long time, and maybe miss some of the things that they grew up with, in Mexico or anywhere else, this might
They're
bring
really
back.
going for the cultural affiliation.
Yeah, it's funny because, like I said earlier on our first take of the Blanco, the responses on YouTube for this song is hysterical. You need to scroll through some of what people have been saying. It's got over this song has 6 million views, over 6 million views. This guy has a following that we as tequila aficionados are underestimating. Okay,
He's an institution.
yeah, I mean
You might even compare him to, say, Sinatra in the Italian American community.
yeah,
Everyone throughout the generations knows who he is, and if they don't have his music, then it's probably easily accessible somewhere nearby.
Oh yeah, like I say, just step out on your patio and you'll hear your neighbor playing it, right? But the responses are hysterical. I one of my favorites is, like I say, when this song comes on, it's time to go ask your tío for money. The people were kind of tongue in cheek, but these are their memories that this music and this tequila will evoke. And for that reason, I think it's a very good atmospheric tequila. Like you said, I think the best accompaniment you could have, show them your sangrita again. I think you're absolutely correct. This is a sangrita tequila, all right? But it is in your face. It's got a medium to long finish. And if you're not careful with that retro nasal, it could surprise you.
Yeah.
So
they are not playing Mozart during the fermentation.
no, they're not. They're playing Ramon Ayala.
They may not get through a whole song.
No, At least not until you ask your tío for money. Oh my God. Yeah, I think brand of promise for packaging. I don't feel that it's not our brand of promise worthy for sipping, because it's not. It really isn't. And don't look for it to be that. This is really one of those you take to the barbacoa, you take to the matanza, you take, and this is the one that you drink with a purpose.
Yeah.
So it's rather strong. It doesn't have the finesse that maybe some of our other viewers have come to expect from a Highlands tequila. But that doesn't mean that it isn't worthy of looking after. I think it really is. I think that they're on to something.
I think, it's interesting to see into their marketing
Yeah.
of it, and
They sent us a whole bunch of marketing material and
it seems like they really understand their market. And if they're really going for old school, and they're trying to evoke, those kinds of memories, yeah, it's interesting.
yeah, they even on the very front, they said they've won 4 times. I think they also submitted to another contest. In fact, just to be fair, this comes from what did we say the gnome was 1104? Is that the
No, it's what is it? 1137?
1173? Sorry about
11.
that.
All right.
Yeah, it's 1173.
Dyslexia.
They've won a
Santa Lucia.
right.
They also make El Destilador.
Yeah, if you're familiar with that bottle, I've seen that bottle's a classic. Been around forever. It has won a silver medal for the Reposado at the it's a wine, some sort of wine and spirit show in 2016. The Blanco won a silver and a gold in the 2 separate contests, and the Añejo, which we'll touch on a little bit later, won a silver. So it's an award winner. It's not a slouch. Okay, it just may not be the tequila for you. All right, because I would say there aren't many tequilas that are an acquired taste. This one might be. It's almost like a step backwards in time. Not a step backwards as far as we've come a long way and we've turned our tequila into vodka, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not vodka.
No, but don't be don't. This
There's
is not
a lot of character here. It just may not be the characteristics you're used to.
Exactly, and it's not an artisanal tequila either. It's not old school, with that nice agave, flavor. It's not meant to be that. It's not.
They're baking in autoclaves. They're fermenting in stainless steel vats. They're probably sealed. And they're using stainless steel stills. My guess, if I had to guess, I would say that, a lot of what we're getting, from the Blanco is from a faster fermentation process. So the yeasts aren't able to, create as many of the compounds that you would get in something that's, fermented more slowly.
Well, like I say, this is not a Riedel tequila. This is one that you want to shoot with. This is one you want to have.
Caballito.
Yeah. You want to have a caballito, and certainly when you hear Ramon's music, you want to ask your tío for money. That's our take on Tragos Amargos Reposado. I'm Mike Morales here in San Antonio.
Rick Levy in San Diego.
As always, watch us on YouTube. Watch us on our YouTube channel. Subscribe down below. You can check us out on Tequila Aficionado Media, tequilaaficionado.com. And as we like to say, drink wisely, sip wisely, okay?